What's up, guys? Welcome to another live stream. It's Saturday. Today we're a bit late. I was busy in the morning. I was not even sure if I would be doing the stream today or not. But yes, I did manage to do it. I wanted to do it as well. I wanted to do my analysis and prepare for next week. So here we are. It's a little bit later than usual, but it's okay. 6 p.m. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday and that you guys had a good trading week as well, starting off the Q3, starting of July, right? So interesting week. It was quite, depending on the assets that you were looking for, it could have been good PA, good moves in the market, or it could have been kind of a range until finally yesterday we finally got some momentum, right? If we're talking about the dollar, if we're talking about the euro, the pound, and so on, there was a lot of range all the way through the week until yesterday. Finally, after the NFP, we gained some momentum. It was already a bit obvious, especially looking at this dollar index in here. On the other side, if you're looking at dollar yen, if you're looking at the yen pairs, if you are looking Kalispera. Kalispera, Fayden. Yeah, if you're looking at any yen pairs or dollar CAD, for example, there was more momentum trades, more trending than ranging in this case. Like the indices, they were quite interesting as well. A little bit like we predicted last week. We had another move to the downside, strong closing yesterday. After a little bit of a retrace yesterday, it closed negatively, kind of moving to the downside. So yeah, let's see if we finally gain this momentum on dollar index, if we actually create new lows, which can most likely happen this week. I think we may target these lows and we can finally go a little bit below that level in there. Like at least me personally, I was a little bit indecisive on which direction the dollar wanted to go to. And while price kind of was a little bit in here, we start noticing, and I think we mentioned that last week as well, that we started to break some lows, and that kind of starts opening door for price to move to eventually to move to the downside. Question mark was this high, right? This was a big and interesting as level in here. We even kind of broke the low even before that. But in the end, we managed to, although our index fake out this high, but it managed to still stay within this range, right? So again, still not 100% sure in here, but it's like yesterday with the NFP, yeah, I was bearish on the dollar. I was expecting the dollar eventually to crash. First reaction, this could make sense, right? This level was still fresh in here. It was kind of an important previous level of support resistance with this demand zone just underneath these lows. So that's kind of where price reacted initially, but then it decided to just resume the move to downside, and we start targeting this level in here, right? With the possibility, I expect maybe on Monday, whenever we open, we may have maybe a little bit of a correction or a retracement, but most likely during the London session we may just continue to move and we start targeting a little bit more this level. Question mark, if you're going to break these lows, we will see, right? Again, this low itself in here, in my opinion, hasn't really been the final destination. I think I could still see price going a little bit more further down. We actually fake out this or engulf this low in here, in there. So we could even go a little bit lower, have this level in here, a little bit maybe below that. We'll see, right? We'll see what kind of a move you're going to have in there. But price respecting this level, yeah, maybe it makes it a little bit more bearish in there. Hey Arin, what are you doing here, man? Good job, man. Thank you. Welcome to, and thank you for taking the time, man. By the way, thanks for feedback on the dollar yen. I haven't commented on the other channel, but I saw your comment. I traded like a noob and I didn't manage to take anything on the short on the dollar yen, even though I was completely bearish on the dollar yen. And yeah, that's kind of a ridiculous approach this week on dollar yen. I waited all the time for price to get to a certain level. We never got there, and I just missed the short completely. Yeah, it is what it is, man. But hey, thanks for stopping by, man. Yep. If you want, you can discuss. If you want, you can discuss Bitcoin. We can go. We can take a look into it. I would love to hear your thoughts, and not just your indicator. This is predicting tops and bottoms. It's basically your indicator is replacing what we do here. So yeah, it's on fire. Yeah. So dollar index, right? Most likely new lows. I think we can get there. Yeah, I think we may go a little bit lower in here personally. Yeah, it has been always a little bit in the range. I never really felt confident that this could be the low in this case. I think we may go a little bit lower, and I think that's kind of what we are going to be targeting next week. We have CPI on Wednesday. I said that's kind of the biggest news for next week. Last week, of course, non-farm payroll and all the labor market data that came out a little bit, yeah, initially strong on Thursday. And yeah, yesterday it was the first time since May, I don't even know if you guys realized, since May last year, I believe, that finally the number was below the expectation on the NFP. It's been always above the expectation. Where is it? Yeah, in here. Where are we? Yeah, first time. It's been always above expectation all the way since this date, since May last year. Finally, we had slightly below the expectation, first time. Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in there. Yep. Hey Jack, how are you, man? Yeah, dollar index. Yeah, expecting more move to downside. Let's move on. S&P is something that yeah, we're starting to position a little bit myself to potential moves to downside. Why so many? I need to clean them, man. Sorry. And if I'm about to show the MT4 in a bit, and it takes time, and I just get lazy in deleting some previous lines in there. So yeah, bear in mind with me, Igor. Yeah, S&P, yep, looking a little bit more to downside. I was looking for price to get a little bit higher before the move to downside. It has kind of that confirmation there, and then kind of after that it just moved to downside. I think we may be starting to show a little bit more weakness in here. Let's see what kind of compression move we are going to have. It's still a little bit lagging comparing with NASDAQ, but yeah, I was looking for price to get maybe a little bit closer to the upside. But yeah, intraday and during the week, yeah, there was maybe some good opportunities to look for sales, especially after this high here was broken, or this low, kind of this range. Initially I was looking for this range, and whenever that range was broken, kind of it would start opening doors to go further down. That's kind of what I was looking for in here. NASDAQ did a little bit the same thing. However, NASDAQ actually managed to fake out this high, but it never broke this high in here back in June. Like, it's a little bit different what we are looking at S&P and NASDAQ at this point. S&P again, I still see a little bit more room to the upside. NASDAQ, it was okay. The high didn't need it to be broken, and it was actually not taken, just like it was in this case. Like, we started to break and open space to move to the downside, and yeah, that was kind of the move with respect to the high. Key level in there that we talked about in order to look for the short, it was around this range. We noticed when this range was starting to happen, when finally price fake out this highs in here. This is one of the key levels that I usually try to identify whatever range we create in between the break of the highs or lows in this case, to find out if this is a breakout and continuation to the upside, or if it's actually just kind of the fake out and price goes back into the range, and eventually can actually look for the reversal in this case. I try to identify whatever this range is created, in between the break of the highs or lows in this case, to find out if this is a breakout and continuation to the upside, or if it's actually just kind of the fake out and price goes back into the range, and eventually can actually look for the reversal in this case. I try to identify whatever this range is created, And if it holds, most likely price is going to go higher. If it breaks, then you can start looking for the move to the downside from here. Yeah, NASDAQ reacted really nicely from the highs. Initially there was a good opportunity in there. It kind of reached its target, even went below that, and it started opening the door to move to the downside. And yes, this level is usually what I try to identify when I'm looking for breaks off a little bit of structure, and to find out if this is something like this or the opposite, and does the opposite in there. Yeah, try to identify this key zone in here. And after that, yep, price literally had a little bit of this space to fill. There's even maybe more room to the downside. Maybe the range that you've been playing is going to be actually all this in here. That's kind of a little bit maybe what you can be playing around. Nice reaction yesterday in the evening, just before the closing, basically 1 2 hours before the closing. Price dropped again, and yeah, I could see price eventually getting a little bit more closer to the downside. Now overall, there's maybe still room to the upside on us. I could just took these highs in here, and maybe price can go a little bit higher in there. So I'm still open to that possibility. We start to creating now this double top. So usually you may fake out that. We still have kind of this trend line in there. Igor, now it's even more lines in here on us. Yeah, it takes time, man. I don't want to completely delete my charts because then I lose my recent notes, but yeah, I need maybe one afternoon to just start deleting every single line that I have, that it's maybe not so useful at this point. But yes, I'm still maybe opening even to the possibility that NASDAQ could go even a little bit higher. We just fake out this double top in here, and you can even go a little bit higher. And something that even can happen in here, it's going to be interesting with when the Q2, the earnings season start next week, or after the 15th or something like that. We're about to start the earnings season. If NASDAQ is about to do something similar to what DAX did, right? We had kind of the all-time highs on the DAX, kind of a double top in there, and DAX kind of fake out that level, and now finally is moving to the downside. The question mark if we are going to have something similar in here, if by any chance we are going to create any kind of momentum during the earnings season, actually going to move to the upside, and let's see what's going to happen. Because if we are starting to get really close to the highs, I think they're actually going to have a break of these highs before even any big move to the downside. So yeah, we start having these retracements. There's still momentum, price still continues to go higher. So yeah, I want to start seeing more lows being broken before any big reversal to occur. At this point, maybe this range can be interesting somewhere in here. There's even maybe a long opportunity to look for in there. But yes, comparing with DAX, that can be quite interesting. Dow, yeah, Dow it was a little bit more clean, even the move. It's reacting from a really good level on the left side. Dow was, yeah, it made a bigger recovery end of last year, where it's actually reacting on the left side. And now this price action in here was a little bit more clean. Even the move to the upside in here after the break of this. And meanwhile, this was actually maybe a break and a move to downside in the bigger picture. Price can even target these lows, or can even start going a little bit closer to this level again. And this level was still fresh. Like we had literally this origin in here at the highs fresh, and then price kind of started to move downside. This could have been a great entry after the break of this these lows in there. That could have been a good entry point, right? With the bigger picture, Dow is yeah, creating a little bit more of a great move. Even the reaction, right? Fake out this level, a little bit of a reaction in there, and then kind of reaction in here as well. Like using these left shoulders, they're just amazing. And this is DAX, and that's what we mentioned before. Like we had all this double top in here before COVID. Was it before COVID? No, it was way after COVID. Jesus. In 2021, in 2022, right, when you started the bearish market last year, and price it started to break these lows. It may start now recover, or maybe targeting somewhere in there. But there you go. Before actually the move to downside, it actually went all the way there to create new all-time highs. And now, yes, and now it's moving to the downside. There's maybe more momentum even to go down. First of all, maybe retesting in here can be interesting to see if we continue. Even took that level, never test that level. So there's literally more room to the downside in here. 100%. Question mark is what kind of retracement we are going to have Yeah, Tumble coming soon, right? Yeah, that's maybe what you're going to have in there. Yeah, but earnings season, like whenever it starts, middle of July, it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see. The focus on the first quarter, it was a little bit with in the banking sector, right? Especially with the small banks, and now most likely is going to be with the AI. If there's actually some kind of value in those companies or not, or if it's a small bubble that's being created in there without that bullish momentum that we have seen in the US market. So yeah, maybe a bit more room to the downside. It was a good level in there. Just completely sell off this week, DAX, and there's I think there's maybe a bit more room to the downside. A few zones to look for, of course, for testing of this level. Yep, are you going to have a little bit more of a deep retracement? We still have kind of this level in here at the top. That's kind of still left behind, but I'm not sure if we're going to have such a deep retracement right now. I think it could continue. This was kind of a little bit already of a break of a low, kind of final fake out in there. I think maybe you can start or continue to move a little bit more to the downside in there. Overall, I think there's more room to the downside. Question mark is from where that you're going to look at. Euro index, where is Euro index? Yeah, Euro index. Yep, so bearish momentum, like we looked at it. We're looking for price to go above this high. That happened last week. It started to move to the downside. Again, that confirmation here, it left a little bit this level behind. And they managed to break basically all these lows. Like we started to look a little bit as this one that already broken this low, so a little bit more room to downside. I feel a little bit this compression. Maybe there's a little bit more room to downside. I believe there may be more room to downside. This is maybe something to look at, this range. Of course, something in here could hold a little bit price. But again, still open to possibility. Eventually, if price does want to go a little bit more deeper into here, it can. And can even fake out this high, because the zone itself that I was even initially looking for, it's a little bit fresh just next to it in here. Basically price is reacting from somewhere in here, and it's still kind of, I've left the other zone still fresh behind, and therefore there's still the chance maybe price can go there and fake out that zone. But yeah, overall, yes, euro may continue to move a little bit more to the downside. You may start targeting a little bit this level. Let's see if you're going to have any kind of deep retracement or not in here towards that level. And then the N pairs, what can I say? Absolutely, yeah, bad execution, or didn't really find the entry to take advantage of the move. We talked about it. It was a little bit screaming that this correction was about to happen, especially and in particular since the dollar yen touched that 145, right? It was a key level that we were looking for. Dollar yen touched that level, and that's it. And everything starts to trigger to the downside on the dollar yen, euro yen, pound yen, and so on. And this yen index moving to the upside. There were clear confirmations in different moments. Initially, you had this momentum. Then kind of, yeah, the break of this trend line, kind of a test of that level. That could have been the first attempt to look for. One of the main issues, because I was looking for price, it was on the dollar yen, right? So it's actually the opposite, but it was a little bit lower. If that kind of had happened in here, maybe dollar yen had made a little bit of the move upwards to touch the supply I was looking for, and therefore maybe I could have managed to stay in the trade. But yes, overall, a little bit predictable. A strong correction or compression on the way down, and eventually we can start looking. Wait, where did it go? Second. Okay. Yep, maybe we can start looking for this range, and in reality, this high already broke this low. This high is on the left side, so you can even start looking maybe a little bit more than that. But for now, yes, maybe retesting of this level. It's a natural target for these longs in here. That's something to keep an eye on. Interesting the way price actually managed to respect that in there. But yes, looking a little bit more for that zone. dollar yen on the other side is has actually filled this range that we are looking for on the yen index. So dollar yen has already made that move. If I was short, most likely it has already reached my target because it filled completely the compression and got into the next zone in there. And we had similar zones. We had the same zone kind of in euro yen, pound yen, and so forth. Like, so let's see now what's going to happen on the yen, at least towards that level, and let's see if we're going to start moving a little bit higher, or by any chance if you're starting to have a little bit of a range, a kind of a move within this level in here, that can happen as well. Wait, what's going on with my mouse? Yeah, but the dollar yen, the yen pairs, yeah, those, as we mentioned, not last week but even 2 weeks ago, it would start to offer this opportunity to look for a reversal in here. Yeah. Euro. It was a little bit like the dollar. I actually prefer the dollar index than the euro. Looking at what I could see from the chart, but yes, continuation to the upside. This was yeah, that was a good momentum yesterday. There was one card. I'm not a momentum trader, but there is one moment that I actually tried to look for a continuation, and that was actually yesterday. They actually tend to happen on Fridays, especially after some kind of big news, and NFP of course is one of those big news, and it's when we can see the momentum happening in correlation. Basically now, in this case, dollar pairs, we could see the momentum. It was about to kick in, or it has started already even on dollar index, even on pound dollar, Aussie dollar, dollar franc Swiss to the downside, dollar yen to the downside, dollar CAD to the downside, pound dollar to the upside. Yeah, it was somewhere in here. Actually, didn't manage to get filled in there. But yeah, targeting that high in here is kind of a little bit of the zones that you could look for. Basically, everything has been compressed on the way, and I can even see euro breaking that high and getting a little bit closer to this level in there. There's maybe something actually just above this high that price could react from, and maybe have a little bit of a correction after that, maybe retesting this level in here. I think that can be maybe a possibility. We have a little bit of this range, and yes, price may fake out that high and then move a little bit more to the downside. That may be something interesting to look for in here. Yeah, that higher, they already actually even broken that one. They may even go a little bit higher after that, and that would kind of push dollar index also to break the lows in there. Overall, we had kind of this level in here, this level of demand. We kind of had slightly one low after another being broken, but we kept respecting the same structure in here. So yeah, we never really managed to break below that level, so it managed to hold all this time. Yeah, Friday, where do you look on the euro? What do you think? Yeah, this one can be interesting just above the high. I think that can be an interesting zone to look for. Maybe some reaction from there. We do have maybe a little bit more at the highs. Mr. Gary, thank you, man. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Welcome. Feel free to share any assets that you want us to take a look at. Arian, I'm going to ask you about crypto, man. Tell me what you think about crypto. Can't even go there now. yeah, if this one holds, I think this level in here can be interesting, just above it. I think this high doesn't really, did it touch anything important on the left, or it skipped, or it just missed the zone. Okay, it reacted from the base of this, but maybe in here there's something a little bit more in alignment, and that could be interesting to look for. There's maybe something in here as well. So that level is good, but maybe there's still this level in there. Then there's maybe a little bit of this one, and then we need to go all the way to the extremes, because I don't really see anything else in there. On 1 hour, again, I do like the opening of the candles. They usually kind of tend to react nicely, or price tends to react nicely from there. Even have kind of the break of this wall in there, even kind of a Cosimo that should have hold it, it didn't. Yeah, something in here can be quite interesting for price to react from, and it will be a way to actually, I could see as a Monday setup, I could see maybe price going a little bit higher, taking that level, and then maybe continue to down, or the opposite, open Asian session maybe a little bit down, then takes a high, retrace a little bit, and then maybe continue to go even higher, if that's the goal, to take this high. If by any chance, if price wants to just turn in here, which I'm not sure about it. Yeah, we'll see how it's going to open. Yeah, maybe a little bit down, maybe react from this level. Is there anything in here that price should have hold it and it didn't? Maybe something in there that price may retest. Yeah, maybe that was one of the zones that price could have respected and it didn't on the way down, on the way up. Then maybe fake out this high, maybe get closer a little bit to that level, have a little bit of retracement, and then we may have a continuation to the upside, and you may start targeting something in here. If you're about to continue the momentum from Friday in there. Yeah, maybe that could be an interesting scenario. If you start even aiming higher than that, if you start literally looking higher than here, yeah, maybe we can start even looking above this high eventually, all the way through. Yeah, man. Just because you are here, Ari, I'm going to jump into crypto straight away, man. I'm going to do crypto now. 1 second. You tell me. Do you think the high is in place, or are you expecting new highs? Where is crypto in here? I have crypto. What do you make of this high? I think this I think price can go below this wall. I think this wall kind of already kind of goes a little bit down. I think we can start targeting a little bit more this range in here. But even if we go below this wall, I think we still have that zone in there to look for. The high was a nice move. Oh, 1 second. I think it's interesting as long as this, in my opinion, as long as this high holds, I think there's room. I think price could actually go down and eventually have a deeper move down. If we go above that high, I think we can have a deep retracement as well, but then I'm going to be looking more bullish if we do break above this structure. So I'm going to be open to even both scenarios of moving to the downside, but if you go above the high first, then I may turn bullish and maybe looking for longs at whatever retest we're going to have. If this level holds, I may become more bearish in here. That's kind of how I'm looking at this key level in here at this point. I know there may be a few levels in here above it that can be interesting. That's already taken. Yeah. Now this looks like a like if you look at reversals on BTC, it's not that often that we have so many spikes in here without a proper fake out of this. Like it needs a proper high like this to happen. Like it doesn't really happen. Like even in here, many highs in here, we have a proper momentum to the upside and then the drop. What else? A few zones in here, but we have a proper momentum to the upside and then the drop. In here a little bit as well. In there it was too obvious. The all-time highs in there. So yeah, I don't like to see all these highs in here, to be honest. Yep, it looks like it's asking for something like this before maybe a move to the downside. It's a little bit the feeling that I have. Yeah, I think I can agree with you. I don't like this all this accumulation of highs. Yeah, I just don't like it. I think it could start. I would like maybe to see a little bit of a bearish momentum. Maybe people could start turn a little bit bearish for them to have that move. I think maybe it starts to be too obvious this level, and you could have that fake out in there. Where to? Good question. Good question. That's a good question. Yeah, that would be the ideal, as you mentioned. Let people start being bearish, and then make them confuse again, break the highs, make them be completely bullish, and then they could drop. Yeah, that would be that. If I was in control, that's what I would be doing. Yeah, that's how I would be moving the Bitcoin in this case. Yeah, I mean, where to? I kind of need to go a little bit more in detail in here. If there's anything just above the highs that you could react from. All this in here is compression. I think you could have kind of an initial reaction maybe somewhere in here, around maybe 33.15, something like that. Maybe is there any maybe retest even of this low? Don't know if on a lower time frame there's anything more important or not. Yeah, I think that would be interesting. Eventually we can, by any means, we can even keep playing this range in here. If price by any chance confirms the break of the low, it may go all the way down in here and it keeps playing it. Now imagine the imagine the situation. Imagine this. Of course, retest this level before. Yeah, I mean, this would be various. This would be various if this was about to happen. Yeah. You could break over low to 28k, then spike 33, then deeper retrace. Yeah. 28 first. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah. Yeah, maybe not. This would be various. Yeah. If you are looking, for example, sometimes, for example, I would even like to see before a move to downside. I would even like to see crypto total market kind of to go maybe somewhere in there before a move down. We start having a little bit of a bearish moves in here, right? Start breaking slightly some lows. I think price could fake out this level, go there, so that could maybe make another move high on Bitcoin, for example, in here. By any chance, if price does want to go even above this level, maybe can even target it. Maybe in here is a little bit more obvious, the zone itself. Maybe where could react from to move down. Yeah, maybe. And maybe price could go somewhere in there. But yes, even in here, again, if this was a 15 minutes time frame chart or a 5 minutes time frame chart, I would wait for price to go above this size before any short. That's kind of where I'll be looking for a short. It will be in there at this point, and maybe even target all the way. Actually, in reality, maybe I would even target this level if this was a 15 minutes time frame chart. So yeah, that's something to look at. Ethereum's a bit more tricky. Can actually delete this. It's been a while. Yeah, that one is still respecting that zone. With some stuff, to be honest. Yeah, many. For the Ethereum, I'm still, I prefer, or I can still see Ethereum maybe respecting the highs, maybe just going towards that level and maybe continue down. This one was a little bit deeper, even it kind of broke below these walls, but it kind of still respected that level. But if you do start turning on Ethereum, by any chance, if you break below this low, I think there's maybe more room to go down to go to the downside. I think this one maybe has already kind of touched that level. I think you can even go below that level in there. So if you do manage to go below that level, I think we could aim a little bit more to downside. I still like this level at the highs. On BTC, I'm not sure if I like any level at the highs, but in here I still like this level. In there. But in here there's maybe a little bit more zones that price then eventually could go to. It's going to be an interesting one. From here, yeah, from here basically price has already reacted or tested a little bit this left shoulder, so that's a little bit done. Yeah, this wall, if this wall breaks, yeah, I'm going to be turning even more bearish in here than Bitcoin. I don't want to be super bearish, man, but I still look at this low, taking that one by 1 or 2 pips in there. That would make me this. But that's super bigger picture. I'm not going to be looking at that. I'm not going to be looking at that. Yeah, that was it. I know that you took the long from there. You are in another level, man. You are in another level. To really buy the bottom in there, you are crazy. Yeah. Yeah, but the break of that was still in the bigger picture. But the Ethereum in there. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, man. What do you think about Ethereum, Arin? Where do you see it? Are you more bullish, more bearish? What do you think is going to happen in here? You took this size. It's an interesting zone. There's this decision in there. Just go to 4-hour time frame. All this decision in here that was played out. Yeah, it's just above the zone in there, and eventually you can even go to 1,500. And do it this. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I would definitely like to see that. Then price could just carry on. Yeah, I'd like to see something like that happen. Yeah, not really sure. I have a gut feeling that's going to make a new high. Yeah. Oh, Bitcoin goes to 33. Yeah, we'll see. Yep. That's the best. That's the best. That's the best end of every sentence when you make predictions. Like, we'll see. We are not really attached to any key level, but this level, this scenario could be quite interesting. Likewise, Bitcoin 3130. Yeah. The high now, yeah, if by any chance the high that was created in here can be quite interesting. Something in there. Something interesting again that happened, and this could have been the trigger for the sell, similar to what I mentioned on NASDAQ, is to try to look for that indecision, for the battle that happens around the moment that we are about to break the highs, and the battle in this case it was kind of somewhere in here. This is where kind of the last sellers are in place, buyers decide to break it, and the break below this level again kind of makes it be bearish. And at this point, like, this is, at least for me, it would have been the key zone that needed to hold price in order to continue to go higher. It holds it first, it kind of retests it, but it doesn't manage to break new highs. And all of a sudden, there you go, you have the break, and then kind of you can even even within this range, or kind of even use this level to try to look for the short opportunity in there. In this case, you still have this zone behind, so that can even still work as a short somewhere in there. Eventually in the future do have this level as well, so those are a few zones. But yeah, if you do pay attention to these small decision points that are in alignment with previous highs or lows that are broken, yeah, there's a lot of information that you can gather from this level. Yeah, something in there or something in here can be interesting at the high still, whenever that happens. Yeah, so we'll see. We will see, man. All right. Savan is another one that sometimes I was looking at it. Is it back up again? This was a big miss from the lows. Yeah, it just retested this level. This was a nice reaction. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, this one could go higher. And you'll see, you could take these highs and still not turn bullish, because we still have that range, that level in there that needs to disappear. But yeah, this is a really nice accumulation of highs that we have in here, and that's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in between this level. Break below goes, or eventually kind of holds it, and we may have something like this with the break to the upside. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah. Volume on Bitcoin has been really weak. Attempts of highs have been on low volume, and now that big spikes. Bears. Yeah. Yeah, so one is going to be quite interesting in here. Is this something in here still that price has already taken that level? Basically taken the base of it, maybe a little bit of reaction here, and then maybe continuation to the upside. Yeah, this level needs to be taken. Yes, I'll pay attention to it for sure. All right, yeah, let's go back, man. Let's go back to FX. Pound, interesting one. Looking at the bigger picture, we have been bullish, and maybe the next destination is going to be still somewhere in there. Like, we've kind of broke that level. There's maybe all this space to fulfill. How price is going to do that will be the question mark. And we start having a little bit of a correction to the downside. It was a nice reaction from this previous level in there. And price is reacting from the demand zone, from the daily zone. Like, looking at even where was the previous bearish candle on the daily time frame, it was in here, and basically that's where price reacted from. Sometimes analyzing could be as simple as that in there. Yeah, something that made me a bit confused during the week in terms of bullish momentum on the yen, on the pound dollar. It was, yeah, we did manage to break above it, so that could have been bullish in there, but it was this low in here. I didn't like it, and well, that was okay. The problem is that this one went all the way to test this level. If we didn't have this low, and if it was just in there, I would have been bullish much more or much earlier in here, expecting eventually down price to continue to look for longs. Yeah, but that move kind of made me a little bit confused. If you actually would have a little bit maybe of the deeper retracement before I move to the upside, if this was enough. Apparently it was enough, and now price is retesting the highs, or already took the highs, and you may continue to go a little bit higher. Again, maybe on the lower time frame, there's something in there that you can look for some kind of reaction. So yeah, just analyze something in there. You can even target above that level, or whatever it may be, somewhere in there, for some kind of reaction, or some kind of retracement. But yes, maybe pound actually is going to eventually target that 1.3 before any big move to the downside. We'll see in there. But it was another one that's been most of the week kind of in this range, ups and downs, and there you go. And this is also a typical, I already mentioned that before, typical move when you are breaking these ranges in the middle. Like we have this high, but we have this range in the middle. And one of the typical ways that price tends to move when now it's kind of making this retracement all the way to the top is exactly by doing that. Is by breaking the highs and then kind of targeting some lows to fake out. And this is where kind of the confusion can happen, right? Because you just broke highs, you kind of turn a little bit bullish, but then you can kind of break the lows, you may turn a little bit bearish. But no, the first engulf has been done in there. Actually, that's just a fake out for price then eventually to resume the first break that it happened in there. But yeah, if that didn't happen in there, would have been a clean reaction from that zone, and I would have been bullish much early. And in this case, I basically didn't even try to trade the pound this week. It was actually could have been a great entry on the retest of all these lows in there. That could have been a great entry to look for in here after we fake out that level, after breaking this structure. Again, similar to what I mentioned before in terms of breakouts or not, or fake outs. Try to find out where the bottom is, kind of where the reaction or the decision to break the lows is, and if you by any chance if you break above that level, then maybe that can be a good zone to look for the long. Otherwise, price most likely would react from here and just continue to move to the downside. Yeah, sometimes it's more clean than the others. Euro pound just made out the move to the downside. Let's see if this is going to hold or not. I'm still a little bit more bearish in here. This was a nice reaction 2 weeks ago. Price has been just moving to the downside in here, and yeah, I'm eventually expecting price maybe to continue to get a little bit more to the downside, or by any chance price is going to range a little bit in here, which I'll prefer to see maybe first break of lows before maybe price resuming again to go higher. And there are a few zones that price can use for a sell again, in particular maybe the retest of this level in here to look for price to go down in there. Aussie pairs, again, super rangy. Yep, interesting. I was actually expecting price to go once again to go a little bit below this lows to fake out that level. I was still looking at this zone fresh in here, and fortunately price just hold that level and they start moving to the upside. Good reaction last Friday on the yesterday evening, but I think maybe Aussie yen can go, Aussie dollar can actually go a little bit more to the upside next week. Again, we are in this range. Let's see what direction is going to go to. A bigger picture, I could still see Aussie dollar to eventually resume the move to downside, but maybe we can have a little bit of a deep retracement before we do that. I still look at maybe target for this move down, maybe still somewhere a little bit more farther down. On the other side, we had this Euro Aussie. It was a little bit more clear, in my opinion, super compressed, quite interesting kind of the turn. We took this low. This may opens a little bit maybe door the room to the downside. We'll see. Because it actually reacted from a good level in there. And bigger picture, we actually have taken these highs in here. Maybe bigger picture, we may continue to move higher from this move. Something like that. So I could see that happening. I could see maybe a little bit more of a deep retracement, maybe getting in here. We actually took out this compression, we reacting a little bit from there. But yeah, this could be just a retracement before maybe price moving to the upside like that. Yeah, we'll see. And now this is the end pairs, which, yep. So the zone I've been waiting for all this time, it was somewhere in there, basically. Yeah, and price managed to respect all this time this level. It just respected and it never fake out this goddamn level. Never. And I waited all this time for price to do this. And it never happened. So I just missed the move. Yep. Even somewhere in there. I just wanted literally a break of this high. This high, okay. It reacted actually from a good level. Nothing. Yeah, it was actually okay. Still from here. But yeah, overall. We started to break the walls. We broke the walls. We started looking for that confirmation that was happening. Just the deeper trace never happened. And we reached the target. We filled the range. This was the range that we started to look at and that talked about it as well. And we are now at the next level of structure. So that's why I mentioned that actually dollar yen may have actually filled the range. While the yen index maybe it's a little bit lagging, which may open the door for this dollar yen maybe to continue to go even a little bit more farther down. Right? But again, this was one of the setups that we have been waiting for. Again, the retest of 145 and the possibility to look for this move to the downside on dollar yen. Now, kind of a little bit of a similar reaction from this level in here all the way. Maybe we can target again this same structure. Maybe make the same move that we made in here. Maybe that can be the same distance all the way until there. Bigger picture, I think we're going to eventually continue to move upwards before maybe have a deeper move down. I think eventually these highs are going to be target and going to be faked out before the bigger move, whenever that happens on the yen. But yeah, this was one of the first possible setups with clean targets, which is exactly kind of what we are looking for, because it just increases the probability of the setup in there. Maybe some reaction from here. That zone kind of was a little bit left behind. We'll see what's going to happen now. Yep, maybe take these lows and we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen in here on the dollar yen. Yep, so that was one of them. Again, euro yen also managed to respect out this range and basically fill the zone in there. Right, so basically we are getting really close to the extreme of this level. So that's also done. That was the move also to look for. We can even target below this low, maybe getting somewhere in there. Maybe from here we can have a correction to the upside. Euro yen, as you know, it's a little bit harder to predict. The zone on the left is reacting from a zone back in 2008, which I don't really have data to look into the war time frame there, so it's a bit harder. But yeah, interesting move to the downside. Pound yen, interesting this double top. Again, we managed to break below this level in here, maybe opening a little bit more the room to the downside. Maybe now we start targeting maybe these lows. Are you going to have a little bit more of a deep retracement again? Can even fake out this double top before I move down? Bigger picture, I think we can still go a little bit higher on pound yen. We just fake out this high. That's basically what we did now. We took this high in here. I may be reacting a little bit from a zone in there, but I think maybe now this is compressed and actually price eventually is going to go and maybe start targeting a little bit more at these highs in here, if not even a little bit higher. So yes, bigger picture. Again, I still think that's more room to the upside on pound yen. eventually to go through. Where from? Maybe not from here. Maybe actually price wants to go a little bit down first before resuming to the upside. This can be interesting as well. Yeah, so we'll see. We do have all the structuring here. Interesting zone in there. And the Aussie yen, yeah, this one hold that. We start breaking below before even reach the final destination. Something that we also like to look at. Again, kind of a little bit similar. Try to find out what is the important structure that has managed to break some highs, and eventually when that breaks, you can maybe start looking for a sell. And another compression zone, another target that it was a little bit easy to predict, and then eventually price would fill that range. Now question mark is, are we going to continue to go much farther down from here, or where is the next zone on the Aussie yen to look for? Is price holding this level, or eventually getting a little bit more closer to this level before any move higher? Bigger picture, now we have this double top, and we have this level which is still fresh, so eventually we can even target something in here. We start having a lot of compression in here, so eventually we can even have the retracement once again, maybe fake out this level, and then maybe turn to the downside in there. It's going to depend on also where these lows are reacting from in order to look for that opportunity. Otherwise, maybe just going to have the opposite. It's going to actually hold, and then price will just continue to go higher, getting closer to this level in here. Dollar CAD. Yeah, this was one that, again, just another one similar to last week that I got picked out on dollar yen before the sell. I just got exactly the same in here. Kind of start targeting below that level. I just got an entry. Where are we? Somewhere in there. After the break of the low, got kind of somewhere in there. Start looking for this break out of these highs. We already broken the low in there, and yeah, I got stopped out maybe somewhere in there, and then I never really managed to get in again, and I missed all the move that would have been the trade I wanted to participate yesterday. And it was a little bit more the cleaner one for me, just before the NFP, and yeah, I missed all the move to fill this range. Yeah, it would have been a great trade. Didn't happen. Meanwhile, before that, during the week, yeah, it was from what we have been talking about, it was a typical zone 2 kind of a move in here, all this range. It finally created the momentum, so that was something that we looked at on dollar CAD when you saw the break of this low in here, and kind of price starting to respect again that level. This started to be seen as a move 2, and the retracement or the deep retracement to here, it was not really in play anymore. And then the momentum, like in this type of zone 2 kind of a move, the momentum, it's literally just before the momentum happens. We have all this bottom in here, and it's price slightly breaking highs, slightly fake out a low, but then we create momentum to the upside. Yeah, and then kind of zone 3, and now zone 4 created yesterday, and we had the correction in there. So yeah, that's a little bit of a typical move from what we have seen recently, from the work that we have been doing of separating the trend in different phases on the CAD. Now, what's going to happen next? We did manage to break above this. We did manage to break above that high. That was a daily and weekly high as well, kind of where we have the correction. So maybe there's a little bit more room to the upside in here. Maybe this is just a correction before price continue to move to the upside. Price can even go a little bit closer to this level before maybe going higher. So let's see what kind of a move we're going to have. A little bit closer to this level. We might even target below this low, getting maybe closer a little bit to this level in here before going higher. Hey Vavo, what's up, man? So yeah, it's a little bit something to look for. It's going to be interest rate decision on Wednesday as well, Canada. So let's see what kind of volatility we are going to have. But yes, dollar CAD, the yen pairs, they have been much more easier to trade this week in terms of momentum, comparing maybe with pound dollar, euro pound, or so on. Even pound CAD as well, for example, big momentum to the upside. Now reacting a little bit, or getting a little bit more closer to that zone. Euro CAD a little bit more of the same as well. Good momentum to the upside as well. So yeah, sometimes these minor pairs actually may provide better opportunities. And our franc Swiss, finally, we are getting closer. Like, I've been looking for price to get a little bit closer to this level for quite a long time, and we are finally getting closer to there. We are finally targeting these lows. Price spent a lot of time within this range for a few weeks, and we finally had the momentum to the downside. And now I'm going to start, it's going to be one of the pairs that I'll pay attention to this week. I will be looking at price, how price is going to react somewhere from here, because bigger picture, this may actually be seen a little bit as an engulf to the upside. And yeah, kind of it took even that high as well. And we may have a really good opportunity in here to look for longs. So let's see what price is going to react around this double bottom. Of course, I want to see price starting to turn bullish even before getting really there. So to start creating some reversal pattern somewhere in here. Yeah, something. Yeah, let's see. Maybe it's going to range a little bit this week until finally we may create the momentum. We may need something like that to happen around this level before the turn. Bigger picture is still kind of reacting from a good zone in here. Yeah, we may even go below, to be honest. Yeah, we may even go below there. But it's going to be a zone that I'll be looking for this week, somewhere in there. Any move from here for now, the first target, of course, is the retest of this level. So that zone, it's going. I even want this zone in here to be taken first. Let price respect it. Let's continue to move down. Eventually, it's going to create some kind of highs in there, and then kind of continue down. And then eventually, when you do break, maybe above this structure in here, that's going to break that double bottom in there, or even target even a little bit higher. And then you start maybe having that correction, even starting targeting there, and then maybe can even go a little bit higher. That's a little bit of what I want to see in here on our franc Swiss during this next week or so in there. Gold, what we have on gold? What has been just in this range in here. I'm not sure about this low, if this is the low or not from this move to downside. I think maybe could aim a little bit more lower to the, yeah, maybe getting closer to that level. Overall, yeah, maybe this was a nice range in there that price kind of use it and respect it a little bit, but eventually I think price could go a little bit more to the downside. Overall, yeah, maybe there are a few zones in here if you continue to move higher that eventually price could use. Again, I still like that level in there. Whenever price goes there, I'm still going to look for opportunities in there. Yeah, is this kind of price turning? Maybe fake out that low again. We still kind of need to break a little bit above this structure to give a bit more confirmation. Price wants to go higher. But again, I'm still not convinced about this one. It can be an okay level, somewhere in there. I think price could go, or gold could go eventually a little bit more further down before that. Yeah, I think it could do that. Yeah, oil, finally moving upwards. Finally moving upwards. It still respected a few times that level. It reacted from there, and it's going to be interesting. I'm still looking at this 75. That can be a good level. There's a zone just a little bit above this that could react from, but maybe not much. Again, I'm still looking for eventual price to get this 75 in here, just above all this structure. Are you going to finally move away from this level and create some momentum in here, or are you going to go back to the same range where we have been for this last couple of months? That's a good question. Price needs to break this level, that's for sure. Yep, can even then retest all the way back to the 72 mark in there. So yeah, is there anything in here? Not sure. This is the level a little bit on the overtime frame that I had. A little bit that level in here. That price could go above this high. Yeah, that could be something. Yeah, and then could go even a little bit higher in there. Yeah, finally some momentum in here. And I think that's it, guys. We already covered crypto, so we already spent some time looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum and even others. Interesting. Thank you guys for joining today. It was a bit late, but we actually got new faces. Thank you for joining this session. Yeah, it was great. It was great to thank you, Arin, for joining today. Good to hear your thoughts and insights about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yeah, nothing much for me. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Saturday. I hope you guys do the same. I'll see you next week for sure. Yeah, it was good. Thank you so much, guys, for taking your time. Again, like, subscribe, do all of that if you haven't done so, and thank you for supporting the channel as well. Jack, Lavo, Arian, who else? Igor. I promise I'll try to remove my my lines in there. Thank you, man. We have to talk more often, man. Arin, I'm talking to you now. Yeah, we have to chat more. I've been away a little bit from Discord. We have to chat more often. You inspire me, man. For the swing trades that you take, you inspire me. All right. So thank you very much, guys. I'll see you. Thank you. Bye bye.